The fountain pen scratches across the ancient paper. As we speak, we turn to stone. What else would you call a life without passion? A body devoid of the driving sense provided by passion is more akin to a fossil than anything else. Without passion, you may as well be buried in the ground, a remnant of life, stuck in a sedimentary grave between the striations that mark the passage of epochs, more accurately than any clock marks the passage of the hours. Even gods, once devoid of passion, must slumber in the earth. The earth, of course, is the most ancient and implacable power in the universe, powerful enough to hold up entire civilizations, and to bury even gods. And what can cause one of these slumbering gods to awaken? It takes a singular force, that of belief. For a god to recover their passion, there must be belief. Belief that this slumbering god is even there in the first place. Belief that there is life left in it. That there is purpose. That there is passion. And when the belief reaches the god and ignites the passion, the earth moves. The skies tremble. Gods awake. There are still questions about what happened that night in the Arizona desert. But questions have little place in the world of gods. Only belief matters. Signed, Mr. Ibis. When last we saw you, my friends, each of you had been left in a bit of a, well, I don't know if I would say precarious position, but DeeDee, you had just met a very unlikable man named Numbers, who had, amongst other things, reduced your bank account to fuck you, which, you know, it's never something you want to see happen. At the same time, Darius had been, well, not charged yet, but asked to actually assassinate this man, Numbers, being told that he was a very, very dangerous man. I would like to reiterate that what Numbers wanted from you, DeeDee, you had been hired to facilitate some negotiations that were ongoing. The offer was excellent and was absolutely in the best interest of the other party, and so you thought your job would be easy and would be an easy sell. However, Numbers seems to think that just by being involved, you would wreck it. You would make it fall apart, and he needs this deal to go through. So we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, Jaqulin, you had a few more of your strange visions, strange dreams. You awoke floating in the pool. You met this woman named Naja, and you were having a nice little discussion with Naja on the side of the pool, your laptop resting comfortably at the bottom of said pool, when you felt a hand, a light on your shoulder, and someone telling you that it was time to die. But perhaps the one who is currently the most in a bit of a pickle would be Damien. Damien, you had gone to the Equestrian Center to speak with Grayson. You had found out, perhaps to your chagrin, that Grayson was not a horse shapeshifter, but had in fact a horse named Ardvaker with him. Grayson was in also a bit of a pickle, as he had inherited the Equestrian Center from his parents, and he was very devoted to it, and he wanted to make it succeed, but life is hard as, you know, a rancher in New Hampshire. And his uncle wanted to sell the Equestrian Center, make some money, and the horse in question, Hardwacker, which was very, very dear to Grayson, was being threatened with being sold if Grayson did not do what was the right thing for his uncle and sell his parts and company. You had a good conversation with Grayson, and you had walked outside the Equestrian Center, and as you were accepting an offer to meet later for a dinner, as perhaps there were sparks flying in the air, you heard a voice that you knew fairly well from having encountered it the night before, a voice that belongs to a rather scary person with a rifle and who had given you an ultimatum to leave by next morning. And as you accepted Grayson's offer for dinner, you heard a voice behind you that said, "I told you I would kill you." And then the unmistakable sound of a gun being cocked. Tell me, Damien, what do you do?
This situation is so unfamiliar to Damien and so out of anything that he's experienced that I think all he can do in this moment is freeze and perhaps start to turn towards that voice.
As you turn towards the voice, you get a strange fancy, perhaps we'll call it. You get a sense of betrayal. You get a sense of being chained, of being held against your will, of being feared for something that you don't understand. The person who betrayed you, their blood is in your mouth. You can taste it. You have swallowed the hand. And yet here you are in chains. And you turn around and you see walking towards you, again, shrouded in what appears to be a snowstorm here in the middle of the Arizona desert. A strange figure of a man with a hood. Possible to see the face in the darkness. Black glove on one hand. A large bore shotgun in their hand. Coming towards you. Leveling the gun up. Take an aim. What do you do?
Damien tastes the blood in his mouth and feels rage starting to build up inside of him because who is this person to threaten him for something that he doesn't understand? And he screams, but it's not a scream, it's a howl. And he raises his hands, and all of the lights in the surrounding area start to go out. And I don't think he stops with that. I think he pulls as much darkness as he can to protect him.
What you feel as you're doing this is something you haven't felt before. You've felt this power emanate from you before, and lights around you dimming and shadows lengthening, but there's something deep in the earth here. The second you open yourself up and reach out and do this strange thing you've always been able to do, you feel a surge of energy, power, call it what you will, coming straight from the earth beneath your feet, as if it had been sitting there waiting to be unleashed. And what normally feels like a trickle now suddenly feels like a typhoon of energy and power that goes through you. The lights not only start to dim, they wink out. The lights around you, the lights of the fires, the lights in the buildings around you. And a moment later, the sun and everything else in the sky becomes inky blackness, the kind of blackness that is not just the absence of light, but the presence of void, of nothingness. DeeDee, as you turn around, walking away from Numbers, with his parting shot at you, you hear in the distance what appears to be a howl. A moment later, you can see nothing, hear nothing. You are in utter, pitch black darkness. You would expect to hear screams, people exclaiming, people wondering what's going on. You hear absolutely nothing. It's as if you have put on some sort of helmet that hides your eyes and your ears, and all you hear is the blood rushing through your ears. And there's a strange feeling that comes over you, a sort of electricity that crawls slowly over your skin. You feel the hairs on your flesh stand up. You feel a quickening of your pulse. This is more than any other physical sensation you've ever felt. What do you do?
So I can't see anything in front of me. It's all cut out.
You're literally, you can't, if you put your hand here, you can't see it.
Does it feel like I'm walking on solid ground?
Yes.
I think I will do what any person would do. Start reaching out and blinking and like trying my best to see, like, oh, are my eyes even open? Slowly shuffling around, even trying to use like my hips to bump to see if there's any furniture, just trying to get a good grasp of what could be around.
You know, there was a chair, tables nearby. A waiter was coming towards you. You don't feel any of these things, but you do suddenly feel a presence behind you. You feel almost kind of like a breath wash over the skin of your neck.
I turn around.
You turn around, you see Numbers there. He's got this look on his face like almost of panic. He grabs you by the arm. He's squeezing your arm and he goes, "Eris, what are you doing? Stop this right now, Eris. Stop this right now."
I'm not doing nothing, darling.
I know you're doing it.
I'm not doing it.
So help me
Mind
God,
the business.
I will erase every trace of your existence if you do not stop this right now.
Looking at this blackness and Numbers, fucking do it then.
Can I hear this?
I'm going to you in a second.
Okay.
You get DeeDee. As you say that, you see his eyes change. His eyes are replaced, and all you see now in his eyes are numbers. Numbers just flashing by. And you get the sense something terrible is about to happen. Darius, from your position, you heard a wolf howl in the distance, but it wasn't a wolf that you recognized. It was familiar yet different. The world got plunged into darkness around you, but you can still see what you see, Darius, as you're sitting there. You are now sitting at a table alone. The two women you were talking to are gone. Everybody else in the restaurant is gone. It's kind of like you're in a sort of light twilight a little bit. The place is empty, but you too feel this sense of power that's crawling all over you, that's kind of making your skin tingle. And you hear this. You hear, "Eris, what are you doing? Stop it." And when you look across the way, there's like this long hall of void. It's kind of like you see the restaurant where you were for a little bit, and then there's just void. And then you can see it a little bit, almost like if it were like little pools of light. And you see DeeDee, and you see the man that you've been charged with killing, holding DeeDee by the arm, and DeeDee's kind of standing up to him. But you get the sense as you see this that something's kind of happening there. What would you like to do?
Oh no. Oh nah. Almost the exact same thing that he did to DeeDee, I do to him, except I don't breathe on the back of his neck. I grab him by the back of his neck. Like where you have to grab a puppy, and to pull it away from something that it's not supposed to be chewing on. I just kind of do that and go, "I'm gonna have to ask you very kindly to let her go."
As you're holding on to him, you can feel your hands start to shake. You see numbers crawling across your flesh, starting to crawl up your arm, just this series of numbers, almost like ants, just kind of crawling up slowly. And you kind of get the feeling that something's happening to you. You don't want to be touching this guy. You're holding him, but you don't want to be touching him.
Once I see that, I just go with my second option, and I fully back fist him from behind.
Go for it. Give me a physique and fight roll.
Yeah, to get him out of the way. Let me see.
DeeDee, what are you doing?
Fight.
I think I'm using as best as I can, as numbers are trying to be pulled off, to use that distraction to break free. Right? How many other ways can I possibly do this?
7 and an 8.
Okay, so you grab him. You see these numbers coming. You all off. You deck him just as he turns around to look at you. You deck him. You hear the crunch, and DeeDee, it's kind of even you feel the impact of it. There's something strange there, but like he hits numbers, and when he hits him, you see part of numbers' face kind of caves in, and you see it becomes all just a series of numbers kind of flashing back and forth, and then he spins and goes flying off and kind of crashes a few feet away from you.
Do the numbers disappear off my hand?
They do.
Or are they still
slowly start to evaporate.
What the fuck is happening to DeeDee?
What? Why do people keep thinking I know what's going on? I don't have the faintest.
Why are you looking around like you can't see?
Because I can't see.
You, at this point, as Darius is near, you can kind of see the outline, the shape of Darius. You hear his voice, but it's very strange because it's kind of just this kind of slightly lighter shadow against the darkness, but he looks way taller and very broad, and his head looks like it's got points that rise up, and it's got a very kind of canine kind of feel to the outline of the shadow.
I'm going to slowly approach and reach out to touch. And the thing of, are you real right now? Did something happen to my coffee?
I've been real all day.
Oh,
well, it's still early, but you catch my meaning.
You look different. But right now it's real dark, so everything looks different.
Okay, you can't see here. And I take her hand. I'll guide you.
And as you do that, you see numbers getting up, and he's wiping blood off the side of his mouth. That was a nice trick. Where'd you learn that? The army?
No, usually when someone gets punched in the mouth, you don't have to tell them again. Shut up.
Wouldn't it be interesting, Mr. Robinson, if you'd never been in the army? And as he says that, you feel memories of yours starting to evaporate. Things that happened to you while you were in the service, people that you met, skills that you learn, things that skills that you acquired, things that you did, places that you went, all of it starts to disappear from you, and you can physically feel it kind of being drained out of you. How does that feel? How about we see what would have happened if your daddy never got enough money to buy that Chevy in the back of which he and your mama made you? Let's see if we can change his bank account, maybe. What do you think about that?
Oh no, I'm still from Jersey. I have to piece this dude up.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he's about to get Jersey shored right now. I'm sorry. Suddenly I have slick back gelled hair and a very tight black t-shirt. He's about to get knocked out. It's t-shirt time.
As you go to move, DeeDee, you see coming up behind Darius, 2 circles of white light are approaching, and that's kind of all you see in the darkness, but they're coming up right behind
it is a lot happening in the moment. Is it like spotlights or is it like orby, tangible light?
It looks like ring lights.
Ring lights. Is this some kind of show? Darius, don't waste your time on him. It's not worth it. But the lights. Do you see the lights?
I turn around when she says this.
When
Do
you
I
turn
see the
around,
lights?
literally the best way I can describe this. There are two social media influencers coming at you. They have ring lights attached to their back. They are dressed in interesting ways. They have cell phones in their hands. And they literally mob you.
Like, when you
Like-
say mob, like I'm getting,
I
like
mean,
I'm getting touched, or like we're fighting.
roll your initiative.
Oh, okay.
And you can roll 2, DeeDee.
I haven't rolled anything this whole game.
There you are.
What?
So you roll your agility or your wits die, whichever one you like. You want to
Go
roll
with
high.
wits.
Agilitar. Motherfucker.
I got a 10. I'm a 10.
I can't push in this game, can I? Never mind. Mm-mm. I rolled low.
Okay, keep your rolls in mind. Kimberly, you
That's me.
were sitting at
Mhm.
the restaurant, at the little bar near the pool, talking to Naja, and you felt a hand on your shoulder, and you heard a voice say, "Kimberly, it's time to die." What do you do?
I think she's in the moment with Naja where, she's a couple cocktails in, she's having a great time. They're having a very interesting conversation. She doesn't understand most of the innuendos, but things are going well. And so she thinks that this is either a joke or like a really just something that she's found that she doesn't quite get all of the conversation sometimes. So she thinks maybe this is something that's just like going over her head. So she's still in like good spirits when it happens, and she turns to look at the person that has their hand on her shoulder, and just kind of I think with a big smile on her face, like turns to look, not really quite understanding what is happening.
When you turn to look, you find yourself faced with the woman from your visions. I've put her portrait on the map. She is tall and slender, dark-haired, strange markings on her face like tattoos covering most of her body, wearing this dark robe that almost looks like raven wings or something like that. You're standing in the desert. You see behind her rows of black crosses.
I think the smile immediately fades off of her face as the moment that she was in immediately comes to a halt, and she's just looking eye to eye with this individual. And I imagine she's now standing tall, and is, I think, unable to speak right away, but appears to be like full attention. Like everything that was just happened has fallen behind, and she's just like frozen.
Are you ready, Kimberly?
Ready for what?
As you look at her, you find yourself in a different place. You're still in the desert, but you're surrounded by literally what appears to be this vast number of fallen trees, many of them cut into pieces, but they're all petrified, as if they have been turned to mineral and stone. You need to bring them here.
Bring who? Who here? I'm sorry. You know my name, but I don't know your name.
My name is Erish Kigal.
It was very nice to meet you.
We've met before. A long time ago.
You come in my dreams. Are those real? Are those have we truly met before?
We have. Several times. Different places, different times.
I'm so sorry. I unfortunately don't remember you.
That is because you were asleep.
Oh.
I would like you to wake up now. But only you can choose to do that. You have to bring them here. You have to guide them. The wolf, the darkness, discord and harmony. You have to bring them here where even more ancient creatures slumber in the earth. They're going to need you to guide them here.
And to do that, I just need to wake up?
First, you need to know how to speak to them. She comes up close to you and leans forward. You almost think like she's going to kiss you, but she stops just a few inches away from you. And you feel her breathe out, and you feel her breath, which is charged with this very, very heady, potent power, just go into your mouth and be swallowed into your lungs. And as you feel that come into you, you feel things unlocking in you. You feel knowledge that had been locked away and hidden. All these languages, all these tongues, ancient, newer variations, dialects. And all of a sudden you realize you understand every language in the world. Every language that has ever existed. You remember the words that Damien and Darius had spoken of, the words told them by the wolves, and now you understand them. The place where they needed to go. DeeDee is the petrified forest. You reel back perhaps a little bit from this, and she takes a step back. Once you come here, the decision will be yours to make. But I very much hope that you will bring them here, and that you will come yourself. For it is time to awake. And as she says that, awake, you find yourself back at the inn, at the hotel. You're in the lobby. It's very, very dark, very quiet. You hear scuffling sound. You see flashes of light. There's somewhere over in the kitchen, in the dining room area, you can hear sounds of a struggle. What would Kimberly like to do?
I think her first instinct is to find people. She needs something to root herself in, and if she can find her friends, any one of them, I think that she can get a grasp on what she just experienced. And so I think she would go straight for kind of where that noise is coming from to see what's that direction.
Excellent. You start heading in that direction. Damien, everything has gone dark. Everything is like a twilight. You look up and you see in the sky an orb, but it's almost impossible to tell if it's the sun or the moon. It should be the moon because it's dark, but at the same time it's got this dimmed inner glow of gold like it's the sun. You see a giant cloud that is moving, and the cloud almost looks like a maw, and it's moving slowly towards this globe. You hear behind you, the horse is still there. The man with the gun has disappeared. What would you like to do?
Damien is going to go to the horse. He is going to look around to see if Grayson is there, and I think even call out to make sure that all he wants is for Grayson to be nowhere near whatever is happening right now, because he has no comprehension of what any of this means or what he just did. And so he's going to move towards the horse, looking to make sure otherwise he's actually alone.
When you turn around, you see that there are in fact two horses there now. One, the one you've seen before, is its usual darker gray with some white mottling. The other one is the opposite. It is white with some gray mottling. You can look at the map I've placed. The portraits there. Both of them stand side by side, looking almost identical. Both also have that strange flower-looking patch of fur. And both of them are looking at you. They don't seem overly nervous, but they seem expectant.
Damien walks towards them, and I think he particularly focuses his sights on the one who is not familiar and says, "Didn't Grayson say you were dead?" And then reaches out to touch them, I think while saying to himself, "Does that mean that I'm dead?"
The two horses look at you like you're out of your mind. They don't seem to have answers for you. You don't feel dead. You feel like there are others nearby, back towards where the hotel is.
Then I think what Damien is going to do is use speak to animals to say to the two horses, "Follow me," because he feels like that's maybe the right thing to do. And then he's going to head towards the hotel.
You realize when you do speak to them that you didn't use up any of your belief power. Back at the hotel, what did you roll, Darius and DeeDee?
I rolled a 10.
Well, DeeDee, you go first. You see, literally, these two influencers come in at Darius. They are wielding their cell phones. One of them has a microphone in their hand. They both have ring lights, and they're coming at Darius.
Bro, I'm getting jumped by TikTokers right now.
That's
This ain't cool.
exactly what's happening.
They're doing a stupid dance while they're doing it too.
Get into it. Question. I've been itching to use my legendary power. Is now a good time for that or nah?
You're the one who knows. Not the answer you wanted?
No.
Well, it's the answer you're getting.
Well, I yeah, because between numbers and those two, well, I'm glad that none of it's at me at this point. And while I definitely trust that Darius can handle his own, we're still gonna try and help. So, for my power, I guess, mechanically speaking here, I should be able to look at the pair of them and know what question I can ask that would distract them. Maybe in this case of who is the more charming influencer, maybe who do people like more, or who has a higher follower count between all things, something that would distract them enough to not latch on to Darius.
I thought you were going to ask him if the dress was blue or white.
Oh, don't do that. We didn't need that.
I've always had a knack for asking questions that set people at each other's throats. You don't know what it is. Started when you were a kid in school, when you would know exactly what to ask of one of the other kids to ensure that before recess time was over, something terrible but interesting was going to happen. And you do that now as they come charging towards Darius. You ask one of them, "Hey, aren't you the one that went viral with that kids song that you did in a tub full of Jello?" And the other one looks at you like, "Are you stupid? That was me." And the other one goes, You just copied it off of me." And then the two of them start arguing, start fighting. Darius, you're watching these. You have no fucking clue what's going on. But these two people that were just a minute ago come in at you, just at the mere question that DeeDee asked, are now fighting but not fighting. They're kind of having this weird sort of debate and doing these weird moves to try to show who's doing it better than the other one. And someone of them is pulling out their phone and showing them their follower count, and someone's tracing back when the first time this was done on TikTok and who remixed it. And Darius is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. All right. Well, you still can't see, right?
That's a yes, right?
Well, so no, with their ring lights on and whatnot, you can kind of see just around you now. Like you can see Darius, who looks normal, by the way, and these two weirdos. Numbers has faded though.
Sorta. I can see y'all now, at least. The other fellow, he's fading.
Nah, that's another story for another day. Don't know why you were getting breakfast. That's just that we're gonna extricate ourselves from this room.
Sounds like a plan.
And again, I take you by the hand and I move about because for some odd reason you can't see. And it does not occur to me that people don't have good low light vision like I do.
You get like a hand squeeze back and maybe the cautious shuffle, but I don't think it's quite as unconfident as you'd expect.
Kimberly, as you're walking towards the restaurant, you hear, "Hello, anyone here?" coming from the other side of the hall towards where the entrance is.
Hello? Hello?
You see a young woman, blonde, dressed in sweatpants and this sweatshirt and carrying a backpack. And she's got her cell phone up and there's light coming out of it and she's got like some sort of strange... You've seen a lot of kids with these things. There's some sort of character from something or other. Anyways, it's pink and it's... Anyways, but she has got the cell phone up and the light. And she's like, hi,
Hello? Are you okay? What's
this is very strange. It was daylight like 30 seconds ago.
That might be true. Are you feeling okay? Is everything okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Hi. I'm Molly.
Oh, hello, Molly.
I'm looking for I don't know if you know her. I'm looking for DeeDee.
DeeDee! Oh, I was just looking for her myself.
Oh, how do you know DeeDee?
Oh, she currently lives next door to me with her mom, who is my neighbor. We're really good friends. We crochet Sunday mornings.
So you're like a friend of the family?
I wouldn't really say the full family. We just kind of neighborly activities.
Oh, okay. Do you mind? And she starts scrolling through her phone. Do you mind if I get like your coordinates, your email address, your phone number? Because I like to send out every year. I like to send out Christmas cards to people who matter to DeeDee, and I'll put you on that list if you want. I'll just if you want to do you want to type it yourself or?
Oh my God, that is so sweet of you. Of course, I would love to do that. And takes Molly's phone, starts putting all of her information,
all of the information,
basically, down to whatever options are available.
If this
everything.
Number's not working, you can try this one.
Right. This is my work phone if you need to get in contact with me, and then this is my secretary's work phone.
Darius and DeeDee, you come out of the room and the dining room, and as you enter the main hall, DeeDee, you see Molly and Kimberly chatting and typing something into the phone, and as you enter the hall, there's light. You can start seeing. There's like this sort of light that seems to emanate from around the two of them, and as you walk into the hall, you can now see and hear clearly. What I like to do is because DeeDee's very busy all the time and she doesn't really think about this. But would you like to also get the gift? Because sometimes I try to send, if I can, like some chocolates maybe or something like that or something.
Oh, that would be lovely. I'm fairly certain she really appreciates the raspberry filling in the chocolates. Those always seem to go missing when she stops by.
Oh, excellent. DeeDee.
Yeah.
DeeDee, and she comes running over. She goes like, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it's been such a nightmare. Everything is so disorganized here. Like, it's just driving me nuts. Like, you walk out of the airport and normally you would think there would be a line, right, for the Ubers, and then there would be a line over there for the taxis, and then you can kind of choose, but they're like all over the place, and the Ubers are with the taxis, and there was even a guy in the tuk-tuk, I think. It was just really strange, and I couldn't make any sense of it. It took me forever to sort of figure out which one I should get into. It was a trial.
She's talking, I'm also talking, over top each other at the same time, right? seeing Molly brings such a joy. Giving Darius' hand one more squeeze before separating and like launching and hugging and arms out and rattling off pretty much the same thing. Oh my gosh, it's been such a nightmare here as well. And like talking about this guy who's been following her and the wolves, and it is just happening. We're overriding each other
And
at the same time.
as that's going on, a lot of you are watching these two talk about completely different things over each other. Molly's hands are very expertly inputting things into the computer, into her phone. She's got the phone. She's also got the tablet that sometimes she pulls out and updates stuff in there. And she's just, taking all the notes down, making sure that everything for DeeDee is organized right away. She's kind of fallen right into that. And she's saying, I was going to bring you some Starbucks, but then I couldn't find the Starbucks. And there was a sign and it said to go left, but like it was clearly there was nothing there. And it just didn't.
Don't worry about Bumpy. I'm just so glad you're here. Although at the same time, I'm kind of not glad you're here. It's a disaster.
Well, apparently so. Like, is it always so dark here in the middle of the day?
No. No, it's not.
Oh, by the way, so I've got all your messages here. So Robert called 3 times.
All right. He's so needy.
Yeah, I know. But so what I did, and so they start into this. Damien, you are pulling up. I'm assuming you're riding one of the horses?
I think so, yes.
Which one?
The familiar one.
Okay. You're coming up. The doors are wide open. There's a set of suitcases there, pink. They're very neatly stacked next to the door. And you hear 2 voices that are literally the same, but exactly the opposite, talking at each other at the same time over each other, and somehow information's getting through because at some point someone will reference something that the other one said like a minute earlier, and like there's this weird chaos that almost makes sense when the 2 of them are sort of yapping, and you see through the door Darius and Kimberly watching this thing occur. Darius and Kimberly, you hear horse hooves approaching
And I
the
think
front door.
Damien actually rides right through the front door.
As soon as I hear horse hooves, I go. As soon as I hear horse hooves, I go. I can almost guarantee you Damien's gonna be on a horse.
Is that just a normal occurrence?
For him?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say yeah. I've known him the same amount of time that everyone else has. I don't, but in the interactions that we've had outside of group, it's been horses, mainly Grace, but horses.
Yeah.
But also Grayson is a horse guy too. They're both horse people.
I mean, I knew the horses were like gonna be important for him. Wasn't really expecting this as Damien scroll like the horse past us.
Like a Mel Brooks bit. I wasn't expecting this as a horse just rolls right through.
It works. It's phenomenal. He looks so good.
You know the worst part about this? We're all acting like this is completely normal.
I mean, he looks so confident. It's really hard to argue.
I mean, it work. If that's his therapy, that's his therapy.
And Molly's going, is that man on a horse?
Like Old Spice, baby.
Yeah, he does. Yes.
Oh, that's Damien. He's all grown up. Look at him.
He's kind of dreamy.
Not covered in blood this time. Okay, that's a new one.
Improvement.
So, were you outside when I'm assuming the solar eclipse happened?
Yeah. What is going on?
I don't know, but I think I might have done it.
Oh. How? Do you know?
Sometimes electricity is a little strange around me, but this was more than electricity. Also, there's somebody who wants to execute me.
Oh my!
And I don't know where he is, but he wants that to happen.
Do you know what they look like? Should we call the police?
I don't think the police can do anything. He brought Winter with him.
I'm sorry, what?
We're in Arizona.
I know.
No, some Flagstaff. I was gonna say, Bleak, how much of my personality has changed since apparently my freaking past has been rewritten?
It's really strange because what you remember now of everything pertaining to your military history is kind of like something you saw in a film. So you feel like your personality is fairly intact because you've seen all these things. What's really happening is not so much that it's gone, is that you're doubting that it's there. You're doubting you know how to do these things. You're doubting that that has been your experience. You have just doubt now, and where you before you just reacted, you just acted with where you just knew exactly. Now every time something comes up that you would normally rely on your military training and experience, you second guess yourself.
Something's afoot. It doesn't seem necessarily good for most of us.
The real question is, how do you know that guy? How do you know that guy?
The one you punched?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know him per se. I had a dream last night and he was in it, and then went to meet the folks about the job, and he was there. So I thought I'd go say hi, introduce myself, be friendly like. Here we are.
When you say you had a dream last night and he was in it, you just see an eyebrow just kind of go up a little bit, just like, oh, okay.
No, not quite like that. You saw he's not my number one fan, although it seems like I live rent free up here. I don't think he necessarily is a fan, though.
I was in the middle of a business meeting and that guy came up.
Came up how?
We're supposed to be doing business? I'm sorry.
Wait, you all are working?
Yeah, I'm not to interrupt. The both of you went to business meetings?
Molly comes over to you and shows you a transcript. She says, no, what he said was that he was at a business meeting.
Uh-huh.
Right? And he hasn't told us what the purpose of that was yet. But she scrolls back a little bit. This all started when DeeDee dreamt of this, and but this happens very often, so it's not like very surprising. Like this is kind of a regular occurrence. But then she came here and she had a meeting with somebody else. So there was like a third party, and then she saw him. And then Darius was just about to tell us what his meeting was about.
I whisper some small corrections, like, "Oh, the man's name is Numbers."
Oh, Numbers. Numbers. And she's, I don't have any data on Numbers. Is he the guy from that tobacco company?
Nah, new face. Didn't get a business card though, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'll start a new file for him anyways, just then we can fill it out later with whatever you remember.
I love her so much, thank you.
I was having a meeting with another group who owns another security company. You know, I own a business. I don't just like work at a security firm. I'm a co-owner.
Oh, okay.
And you hear as you say that, no, I'm not gonna be able to fix this one. Bill comes walking in. Well,
Bill!
No, I can't fix this one. It's not one that I can fix. Oh. Are you okay? Did one
Well.
of you break everything?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I only punched a guy who apparently threw numbers at me. I don't know. He threw like alphabet soup on me or something. I don't know.
What are you talking about? Makes no sense to me what you're saying.
Bill. Apparently someone is trying to kill Damien. So we need to
Oh.
immediately call the authorities. They have like a
Yeah.
rifle and they bring snow. I think maybe they might have a machine with them.
Oh.
It's
No.
quite frustrating. And there was
Yeah.
something the wolves earlier, maybe that's also
yeah.
a thing. I think we need to really
Yeah.
we need to call someone.
No.
What?
Who do you want to call? Is
The authorities.
This is not people you can call to fix this.
No,
It's not good. It's not good.
Kimberly looks flabbergasted, as if like Bill hadn't heard a thing that she had said, and is looking at the three of you like, somebody help her.
What I want to know is why you're here. It's very strange. He comes over and he kind of leans into you, Kimberly, and well, maybe it's not so strange after all.
I can't speak for her. Look, I'm currently questioning my very existence right now after meeting that numbers guy, so I don't
It's
know.
normal. It's normal. We've been asleep a long time.
I am
What?
wide awake.
Yeah, no, we proved that we're awake.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, Bill. Can you repeat that last thing you just said?
I said you've been asleep a long time.
That's not the first person to say that to me tonight.
Finally we're getting somewhere. Who told you this?
Uh,
The pool
it's-
boy? Was it?
kind of crazy. A woman in my dreams.
Not as crazy as you think it is. No, who is this woman? Did she say what her name was?
Yeah, her name is Oresh Kegel. I think I'm saying that properly.
Oh, that
She
explains
mentioned-
everything.
It does.
Everything?
Yes. Did she tell you where to go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go there.
forest?
Darryl just made a realization that he doesn't want to say out loud.
I don't know how to get there. How do we get there?
Well, you need someone that can guide you places. He turns over to look at Darius. He's good, right? You know that? How to take people places.
That is legitimately, oddly, the one thing I'm not questioning right now.
Then let's go. We got horses. Let me just go get some Margle. And he goes in the back and he comes back with his iguana. You never know, we might need firepower.
Oh shit, I'm leading this.
Yeah, you kind of have to do the thing now where you walk ahead and we follow. I go with you, it's good. I got nothing else to do, the guests, they're all gone.
Okay. I just kind of take the lead in front of people, and it's that thing of like, he's sort of milling about, like, I'm in front, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do now that I'm in front.
You in fact do. As soon as you start walking, you
Yeah.
know exactly where you're going.
That was That's I was gonna get to. Like eventually, I was just like, I don't know, and then but with the most confused hand expressions, he's kind of just starts going in a direction, and suddenly it just becomes super clear where he's supposed to go, and he just kind of starts leading everyone in a general direction with all the confidence in the world, like a man that says, "No, I know how to get to Vermont from Texas. I don't need a map."
So you set off, and when riding horses, you got horses. You could ride like 4 people on them, which is all of you. Bill can walk; he doesn't mind. Or I guess there's Molly too. So whoever wants to ride a horse can ride a horse. Let's maybe put it this way. You head out into the mountains. You unerringly lead everyone. Outside, the land is still this weird, strange of twilight quality to it. You still feel that strange energy that's, was kind of crackling all over your skin earlier. You head off into the mountains, and you know from where you were, based on where the city was, that once you climb up along the first ridge, you should be able to see the city off in the distance. But when you do, you see nothing. It's just the desert as far as the eye can see. Pretty quickly, you find yourselves arriving at what appears to be a sort of cave, or an entrance to a cave, and you can see eyes glinting everywhere around it. As you approach, you can see probably close to 20 wolves lounging about the entrance to this cave.
Oh, fuck. By the way, I totally would have asked if DeeDee wanted to share a horse with me.
Okay, but if you do that, it means that Kimberly or Molly have to walk, unless, it's not very
well, we were gonna
gentlemanly.
If we were I doubled up 2 people on 1 horse.
So that way someone else can have a horse.
Yeah, someone else would have horses.
Normal case that would be, except that Molly's here, and that seems to be taking a lot of her attention.
Yeah, I'm on foot then.
As you arrive,
I'm doing the Lion King run in the desert, just
dust flying behind. As you approach, one of the wolves will kind of break away from the pack and come over and approach you. Took your sweet time.
Do I understand this?
Yes.
I look immediately at Damien with this and I just go, "What the fuck did you do to me?"
Oh, you understood that too?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Did I understand that?
It's not a human tongue. The wolf
Apologies. It's been a morning. I had to punch a person made of numbers. I'm questioning every memory I've ever had. And also, apparently, I'm just talking to wolves now. Not even the craziest thing that's happened this weekend.
Son is dead. Ohona Heidatsa, son is dead. He's waiting for you in the cave.
Oh, okay. I go inside. I'm assuming he's meaning the actual sun in the sky. That is what I am hoping, and not that I'm legitimately too late for something, and then I just go, all right, so Damien, I am trusting you to explain away. And I just go inside the cave.
The cave is not very deep. As you approach, you see a couple other wolves kind of crowded around another one. There's one wolf who looks older than the others. And as you approach, you see with perhaps some horror that all 4 of its legs are broken. As you approach, he lifts up his head very weakly and goes, Finally you come. I've been waiting for you. You may take me now, I am ready.
Where do you want me to take you? Where do you need to go? To a vet? To a vet?
No. You need to take me to where I'm to be buried. The Forest of Stone.
All right. Fourth craziest thing. You know what? I managed to get us here without instruction. I can probably get you. I can get you
You know
there.
the way. You will remember. As you go to pick him up, another wolf approaches and goes, "Be gentle." He stepped into a trap laid by a hunter. A devious trap that broke all 4 of his legs.
I
That
am not
hunter is still
fond.
out there.
I'm not fond of hunters. That much I am sure about.
This one is particularly dangerous.
Question. Does this hunter bring the winter with him whenever he goes somewhere?
The cold follows.
He's after my friend on the horse out there.
Then you will get him. It is written in the stars, in the lines of the earth. It is spoken of in the wind, in the trees. The river sings its song. The story is as old as time itself. The story cannot be changed.
That all depends on who's writing it. And I pick up the...
As you pick him up, you feel pain just emanating from you. You clearly feel his pain as his legs move and the bones grind against each other, but very soon you put him in a semi-comfortable position.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Worry not. I have been here a very long time and, well, it is my time to go. I was just waiting for you to bring me there."
I'm not even going to ask why, but I feel like I do know where I'm supposed to go, and I just kind of start walking in another general direction. And I feel everyone just sees me walk out of this cave carrying this wolf.
Under the strange dark sky, a lot of you will follow Darius carrying this wolf. In your wake, 20-odd wolves will follow. You will eventually arrive at a strange place that looks like a forest where all the trees have fallen down and turned to stone. You now face a surreal realm where ancient history is frozen in time. The landscape unfolds before you like a natural museum, one of the most remarkable collections of petrified wood on Earth. Under the vast, darkening Arizona sky, the scattered remnants of trees that once stood tall and proud now lie as stone sculptures, their wooden fibers replaced by vibrant minerals. The ground is a canvas painted with petrified logs in shades of red, orange, and violet. The brilliant colors are a testament to the minerals that have seeped into the wood over countless millennia, creating a fascinating mosaic underfoot. The air is filled with a sense of quiet reverence, broken only by the whispers of the wind and the crunch of your footsteps on the hardened ground. You can't help but marvel at the sheer size of the petrified logs strewn about, some so massive that it's hard to fathom the ancient forests they once belonged to. The area reveals towering badlands, where layers of sedimentary rock have been sculpted by erosion into a breathtaking panorama of striated cliffs. The vibrant blue and purple hues of the bentonite clay add a surreal touch to the already extraordinary landscape. As you move among the fallen giants, you come across remnants of ancient ecosystems, such as fossilized plants and the petrified remains of long extinct creatures. The agate-rich deposits sparkle in the moonlight, adding a touch of magic to the prehistoric scene. In the distance, the painted desert provides a stunning backdrop, creating a seamless transition between these two wonders of nature. This is a journey through time, a place where the past is petrified in stone, slumbering in the earth, and one that invites you to contemplate the forces that have shaped the world around you. As you approach this forest, the stone forest, standing in the center of it is the woman you've seen in your dreams, Kimberly. She turns as you all approach and looks at Kimberly and says, "You've done well." And she comes over to you, Darius, puts a hand on the old wolf's head, and looks at you and goes, "You'll have to take him to the next place. Once you're there, you may find it pleasant. You may find it calls to you and sings to your soul. Know that you can always return if you wish, but you can also stay there if you do prefer that." And she turns to the rest of you and she says, "Perhaps we will give the wolves a bit of space in a few moments to take care of their elder. And once this is done, we will talk about your own slumber." Most of you have left space for the wolves. Darius, you don't know exactly how you know, but you kind of feel like you know what you have to do. There's the same way you're now doubting all your past experience as a soldier and all that. You absolutely believe in this other knowledge that you have now that's slowly kind of this, waking up in you, basically. The wolves have gathered around you in a sort of circle. You carry the old shattered wolf with you to the center of this place. You can see scattered here and there old bones, and you get a feeling that this is where a lot of living things come to move on to the other side. You remember something from your childhood, something that until this moment you didn't remember. Must have happened when you were very, very young, but you remember finding a dead squirrel in the backyard and staring at it for quite some time. And you were very young and didn't really know exactly what death was yet, but you understood that this squirrel had gone somewhere else. And you remember having this strange vision where you could see this other place. You could see just behind where the body of the squirrel was, this kind of strange opening to this beautiful world. And you remember now, as you lay the old wolf down, and you can feel him taking his last few breaths. You kind of feel like you've done this before. You kind of feel like you've helped people go across before, animals or living things. As the old wolf sort of looks up at you with the last strength in his old body, shattered body, he says to you, "Please carry me over to join my ancestors. Show me the way. Show me how to get there. And I hope that in doing so, you will remember your own way. But we have been here before, you and I, and we will be here again." And I know this may sound strange, but it is the way of things. I leave myself in your hands.
You're right, it does sound strange. But you're also a talking wolf. So, not even the top 10 right now. And I kind of I pick him back up, and once again I just begin to walk to wherever son needs to go.
As you pick him up, there's a glint in his eye, and with the very last breath in his body, he says, "Takes one to know one." The others, you watch as Darius bends down and picks up this wolf. Stands up and starts moving forward. For a moment, you get this strange vision of a creature standing where Darius was. Taller, broad-shouldered, with strange headdress, almost like a wolf headdress or something, perhaps. A moment later, the wolves all kind of gather around and just kind of tighten the circle around them. And then they're gone. The wolves are gone, Darius is gone. Ereshkigal says, "We will have to wait." Bill says, "Maybe he doesn't come back. You know, sometimes they don't like to come back." And she says he will do what he feels is best for himself. And she looks at the three of you and she goes, "I assume you have questions, but I would ask you to hold on to them for when Darius returns, for he may have the same questions." What would the three of you like to do as you're waiting on Darius?
Good question. I think there's gonna be a moment of surprise that he's gone, and kind of coming to terms, like, he really went someplace and just disappeared, with a bunch of wolves, and kind of confirming quietly with Molly about it, making sure that like my reality's matching, and probably even at once confirmed with Molly, spreading it to the group too. Of, did I just say that correctly?
Are you slightly regretting not taking that horse ride with Darius?
I don't know. He's not here. He doesn't get to find out.
Molly's like, "Seems a little unusual."
just a smidge. Damien, did they say anything that give any hint as to where they might have gone?
There's a lot happening right now. Yes, they're going somewhere and Darius is helping the wolf cross over, I think. I don't know what any of that means, but it's what's happening.
Oh, all right. Kimberly, any insights?
There's a real possibility that Darius is a werewolf and might come back in a wolf's form.
While I write that down, that actually might be really smart.
I guess I just really don't know what's going on. It's all very weird. I thought we were done with the wolves, but now Darius is like one with the wolves. It's very confusing.
He'll come back, right? He's gonna come back.
But Bill said they don't always come back, so this seems like a very common occurrence.
Like, how common can it be? I've never seen anything like this before.
I have never. No.
No.
I'm pretty sure all of this is something my child came up with when she was 4.
Are you saying we're in a story?
Except with Barbie dolls.
Bill says, the thing about stories, in my country, they tell a lot of stories. They tell stories about everything. They tell stories to explain this and that and this other thing. And what I found is oftentimes the only difference between a true story and a made-up story that is not real is whether or not you believe in them. And that if you believe in them, even if they didn't happen, then to you, they might as well have. They're as real as if they did happen. No? Oh. That's fine. That's good.
No, Bill. It feels very profound. You seem more familiar with all of this, and we're kind of new. The idea of a story being true just because someone believes in it certainly tickles a fancy. Just not sure if it's true.
You work in there, right? You make stories up and you tell people this person is a good person, vote for them, etc., right? Does it matter if the person is actually good, or does it just matter that you convince the people that they're good?
I'm going to check my phone for reception and kind of note my way out of this conversation.
And Molly's like, oh, God, he got you good, eh? She's typing something furiously in there.
Molly, stop writing. You don't need to write that one down.
Damien, you see that Hardvarka and Asvil there have kind of walked off a little bit outside of the area where you are. They seem to be looking for brush or something to munch on.
Damien is keeping an eye on them, and he probably is a little bit away from the group, just a little bit closer to them. And he's mostly scanning the surrounding area as much as he can and trying to see if he's feeling that prickling on the back of his neck again. Because he feels very exposed out here.
And as you're standing out there, as you say, kind of exposed, you suddenly feel the breeze changes, and all of a sudden there's kind of a cold edge to it as it washes over you.
and Damien kind of like whirls on his heel, trying to see where this frigid air is coming from.
And as you turn around, you feel incredible pain as a wolf trap that has been hiding just under where you were clamps up. The teeth of this thing just digging all the way into your leg, all the way to the bone. You feel the bone in your leg shatter as this thing clamps down hard on you, and you go down. You let out a scream, I would assume. DeeDee and Kimberly and everybody else, you hear Damien scream, and you turn just in time to see him kind of fall to the ground.
Go check on baby boy over there.
Kimberly?
Yeah, I think Kimberly is so confused, like mom confused, and she's got all of the puzzle pieces and she has no way of putting them together. And I think that this is the straw for her, where she's just like completely like utterly broken, and just is probably standing there in just complete shock, like watching the Damien fall, and like, you know, I'm assuming blood begins to flow down his leg, and is just immobilized by fear and unknowing, and that like grasp of she's always wanted to know things and be in control, and everything has completely shattered out from underneath her.
And as you freeze, you feel a hand on your shoulder, and you hear Ishkigal say, Kimberly, it's time. DeeDee, you hear a gunshot, and you turn around just in time to see Kimberly as her chest explodes in this blossom of red blood that sprays all over. And Kimberly is looking at you, completely confused about what's going on. And her body falls back. And as it falls, you see behind her, coming out of the shadows, these strange shapes that look like shadows made of numbers. And they are moving and gliding towards you incredibly quickly, eating up the ground between you, Molly, and them. Darius, you find yourself on a boat. It's one of those Egyptian boats, you know, those little ones that with the stick to push, right? You are pushing this boat along this long, narrow river. You can tell you're in the desert somewhere, but the borders of this river are lush with greenery, and you can see here and there people working in fields, people getting water from the river. There is an old man sitting in the boat with you. His hands and legs are shattered, but he sits there very quietly, very serenely, looking around, and says, "This is not what I thought it was going to look like. I was imagining a forest, some game, place where I could just run again and chase hares and..."
So when I turn around, I see a man there with
Yeah, an
broken
old,
limbs,
frail old man.
I want you to take a look at yourself, son, and then go back to that thinking of chasing game again.
I don't think this is real in any case.
That's honestly what I've been holding on to this entire time. It's just mass hysteria. That is what I'm hoping for. But until I get to the end, till I get you there, I'm going along with it. I'll keep you safe along the way.
But can I ask you a question?
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, technically we are, but
You know what I mean, man. Don't be a smartass.
hey, I'm dying here. Just,
Yeah, well, you're killing me, so hurry up.
why do you do this?
Do what?
This. Take souls across.
I didn't even know that's what was happening, but
What did you think we were doing? Going for a milkshake?
it just... You asked me to take you somewhere, and I knew the way. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it just felt right. And your people didn't eat me, and
They're your
fuck
people
that,
too.
and fuck that hunter.
But some would say that it's the natural order of things. We hunt things, and so it's only natural for us to be hunted in return.
There's a difference between being hunted and someone hunting you just to get a trophy. There's survival, and then there's trying to get a prize. I don't fuck with getting a prize.
But this hunter, what if this is his purpose? What if this is what he does?
That he can go fuck himself.
It's very, very eloquently put.
Yeah, well,
How long's it been since you've been here?
first time?
Surely you can't believe that. If you know the way, it's because you've walked it before.
Add that to the list of things I'm questioning today.
You know, when your time comes, when you know that nothing can be done to save you, you just wait. You sit there and you wait. You know that at some point, a shadow is going to darken the doorway. And that shadow is going to come for you. And I imagine that different people have different feelings about this shadow, depending on their circumstance. But the thing is, once the shadow is there, whatever you were feeling before, fear, trepidation, anger, the injustice of it all, maybe even you were praying for him to be there because the pain was so great. But once that shadow is there, you feel only comfort. Because finally, there's someone there who knows the way. And you have to just believe in that because there's nothing left to believe in. And that is very powerful. Because doubt is gone. Maybe that's why you do it.
There's been a lot of stuff happening since I've come on this trip that has made no sense. And yet, for some reason, from the mouth of a wolf that is now a man in a boat in what I can only assume is the Nile, that has made the most sense to me.
Well, then you're wrong about one thing.
What's that?
You're not in denial.
I thought you were dying over there. You over there making fucking quips.
I'm dying.
Yeah,
Keep
like I
going.
said, you're killing me.
Damien, the pain that shoots through you is not only overpowering, it's not only visceral, it's not only deeply life-threatening, but it's very familiar. You get that same sense that you got earlier. You remember feeling it when you saw the hunter earlier. You remember feeling it that day that you realized that it didn't really matter what you wanted. Your path had been laid out for you. It didn't matter that you wanted to be a lawyer, that you liked law or not. It didn't matter that there was something else that you loved. Regardless of how you felt and regardless of what you thought you wanted to do, that path had been laid out for you. There was no escaping it. Someone had made that choice for you, and regardless of anything else, you were powerless to change it. And as you're lying there, and you hear the gunshot, and you hear footsteps, people coming, things happening around you, blood seeping out of your body, you know only one thing that you know that you can do, that no one can stop you, and that's to turn off the light. What do you want to do?
Damien has been, I should say, had been scrambling to try and pry the trap off of him just instinctually, despite the fact that all he was doing was cutting up his hands, causing himself more pain in the process, losing more blood and energy. And he feels an anger that he's never let himself feel before because it's never felt safe. And this is probably the least safe moment that he could let this anger out because he doesn't know what the consequences could be. But he wants to reach for that light. And he wants to take it. And he wants to do whatever needs to happen to alter the course that he's currently on. Because he is not going to die like an animal in a trap.
As you lay there and you look up at the sky, you see only that one orb, both the moon and the sun. It's staring down at you. You know that to survive, you need to do what you've always done, which is to hide in the darkness and the shadows. You know that you can reach out, almost as if you're reaching for a light switch, and you can take this orb that's in the sky, and you can take it in your hand like an apple, and you can bring it to your mouth, and you can put it in your mouth, and you can swallow it. You know that if you do that, the darkness will be ongoing and pervasive. But you know that if you don't do that, you're going to die in the light of that orb.
Damien starts to reach up. And then he stops. Because he thinks about, well, in this moment, he thinks about Grayson. He thinks about what effect that will have on the world. And he chooses not to take the light. He chooses not to let the world fall into darkness.
And as you make that decision, Osvilda, the whiter horse, appears in view, nuzzles you, and the last thing that you feel as the blood runs out of your body from the shattered arteries in your leg is its warm breath enveloping you like a shroud. DeeDee, these numbers are crowding you. They're all around you. You remember every time in your life that you've used numbers to tell the story that you wanted to tell. That you've literally, almost like a god, changed the meaning of a number. A number had come in, and it meant something, but by the time you were done, that exact same number meant something completely different. And because of that impact of that change, of what the meaning of that number was, someone somewhere made a fortune. Someone lost a fortune. Something was built, something was destroyed. Lives were saved, lives were taken. There is this immense vortex that is surrounding you now as these numbers literally swarm you like a wave. There's a sense of karma. You've eaten these numbers and regurgitated them so often that it just makes sense that they would do the same to you now. You can't make sense of them. You know they're numbers, it's all supposed to make sense, it's all supposed to... But your brain can't do that. Your brain can't... You know that there's somewhere in there, amongst all these numbers that are surrounding you, choking you, you know that there's a combination of them that lets you out. And you could be staring at it, but your brain just refuses to understand it. Refuses to have it make sense.
I think it's really easy to feel overwhelmed by it all, and particularly the karma of it all, right? Reflecting back on, as you said, what number actually resulted in a fortune and what didn't. And maybe as these literal numbers are flashing by, seeing certain numbers that just key those memories. And I think for a time there is that grasping, trying to make sense of it all. And then, if I'm able, I think I'd like to take a breath. And maybe even say to myself, baby girl, you're trying too hard. And just relax and let the numbers wash over. My job has been easy because I'm good at it. Making sense of things isn't about coming up with a bunch of binders. That's Molly's job. Molly's the one that does all the research and brings it to me. I don't need to make sense of it all. I just need to take a moment and let it wash over me and have the answer come to me like it always does.
And in that moment when you do that, when you let go, you see a pattern start to emerge. It's not a pattern that would make sense to anybody else, because it's a pattern that is not a pattern. It's a pattern that is the opposite of a pattern. It is, in fact, completely random. It is just various numbers jumbled in together. You can clearly see now these equations, but now you understand that you're not looking for the equation, you're looking for everything else, all the other stuff around it. The equation makes sense, but the real power is in all the other things that are around it. And as you see that, you realize that you can just literally reach out. You can literally reach out and grab these numbers and pull them apart. As you contemplate that, you understand that this world is built on numbers. The entire world that we live in now is numbers. There is almost nothing else that matters. And if you start pulling it apart, one, you may not be able to stop. But two, you're going to start destroying the world around you. You're going to pull apart every number used by an engineer to calculate the strength of a bridge. You're going to pull apart every number calculated by an accountant or a banker to figure out who's getting paid, how much they're getting paid, if things are getting paid on time. You're going to alter the numbers in every computer out there. Traffic lights are going to go off at random intervals. Airplanes are going to crash. People are going to dial the phone number of a loved one and get a stranger at the other end. And no one is going to have a single fucking clue what's going on. But if you don't do that, if you don't reach out and make a hole and start unweaving these patterns in front of you, they are going to structure you in such a way that you will not be able to recognize yourself ever again.
The first number that gets pulled apart and having this thought process, this understanding wash over me is slow. Probably a little bit more force, like Legos are just stuck too close together. And then the hesitation comes from the bridge. But the accountant, that one's just a little bit easier to pull. Traffic lights, oh, that one's really easy to pull. And just a grin starts. At the idea of this mess happening, as much as I'm inspired by the work that will have to be done to fix it all. That someone is going to have to fix this. Someone else is going to have to step up. Someone's going to get a promotion because of this. And for every chaotic moment that brings its own special joy, truly sparks joy, there's also the almost childish wonder of like, I wonder who's going to step up to fix this and rip it apart as I continue to tear my way through these numbers.
And as you're doing that, as you're ripping these numbers apart and pulling them apart and unweaving it, you sense a presence next to you. And you look over to see Molly. He looks and goes, "It's okay, DeeDee. I'll fix it after."
Best assistant a gal could have.
Which reminds me, we need to talk about my pay scale.
I'm a little busy right now. Later.
Kimberly. You find yourself, again, standing in a field of black crosses. This time you realize each one of them has your name on it. And a number next to it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Arish Kigal is standing next to you, and she says, "Do you know what the numbers mean?"
The number of lives I've lived or I've helped shape. It's a little unclear.
There, every time you've died, and I don't mean died like you just did, but every time the person you were became somebody else, every time you learned something new, every time you taught something new, every time you had a new experience, every time you had to assume a new role. And she motions, and you can see that there are thousands and thousands of these crosses. We're never just one single thing. Every moment of every day, we are different than the moment before. You've been everything to someone or other at some point. But you've never been anything to yourself. And that's the most difficult thing to do. Because it's easy to give. It's easy to cut off. It's easy to take a knife and take a part of you and lop it off and give it to somebody else. But the more you do it, the less there is of you to give away. And that's fine. But at some point you have to stop cutting. Because if you give the last part of you away, then you can't help the next person who needs something. You have to find it in you to believe in yourself. You don't need to know who you are, what you want, but you need to believe that you deserve to know, and you deserve to find out. And that quest for that knowledge is the first step to finding it. But you have to believe that you have the right to find out. I have been hard at work for a long time, helping people like you who have been asleep for a long time wake up. I have things I must do now, and I need someone to take over this task for me. This is not you, it's not your task. But you'd be surprised what you can learn I would like you to begin your quest for self-discovery by helping others do the same.
And what if I make mistakes?
Then you are grateful for them, because the mistakes are how you learn. Every mistake you mean is an opportunity to learn something, and knowledge, as you well know, is what serves us best.
It's hard when you've been a teacher for so long to then be a student again and accept you can make mistakes and that you're never done learning. I think that's what I need right now, is a chance to make mistakes and be a student. Rediscover who I am.
Who you've always been. You find yourself, Kimberly, floating in a pool. You've been here before in this cave, naked, floating in a pool of water. And you remember who you are. Your eyes open. You're lying on the ground in the petrified forest. You can see that over to your left, the world is coming apart. It's unraveling. Something's happening. Someone's pulling apart the strands of reality, taking it all apart. Nearby, there's a void, a hole, where someone used to be. Light shining through it. When you awake, and when you stand up, who is there?
A very tall woman, still an older of age, light olive skin, long brunette hair down to her waist, a circlet across her forehead, and she's wearing just some very plain, basic robes that go to her feet, and she has this sort of calm, collective vibe going about her. She seems very comfortable. Once before, this kind of chaotic, in a rush person has now kind of pulled and is calm and collective. And she looks around her and, almost like controlling the weather, she kind of blows some wind across everyone in the area, and uses her legendary power to just kind of control their thoughts, to kind of send them down the right path, for each of them to kind of, they're everyone in the room is kind of very crazy and chaotic, and things are unraveling, and all she's trying to do is weave them in the right direction towards the right thought that is like the key to the box. She's not manipulating in the sense that making them choose the path, but rather just giving them the key to help them unlock the box they need to kind of whatever they need for their next step.
When you look over, you see two women standing next to each other. You see one of them is busy literally pulling everything apart. There are strange shadows with numbers in them. There are faceless hunters. There are fucking influencers. Like, all these beings are surrounding these two women. There's countless numbers of them. And one of them is just pulling them apart one at a time. And as she does, sometimes she goes a little too far and not only pulls apart the creature, the being, but also starts pulling apart the world behind or around them. And behind her is another woman that is walking, and every time that happens, she reaches out and she fixes that extra little tear and keeps the first one on task. Alex, what does Kimberly see when she looks at DeeDee now?
No longer the short hair. It's long, dark. It's whipping about fairly chaotically, if you will, seeming like as if it like wants to knot in itself. Maybe trying to every now and again try to put it up and just immediately falls back down, even though it gets in her face. I think probably the more standout features at this point is that there's actually black wings behind her, feather wings, that flap like lazily, definitely keeping her in place, maybe even hovering just slightly as she's pulling reality at times apart. And her face isn't quite her face anymore. It's just a little harder to look at. It's not as well put together, if it ever was really well put together. And it takes a little to like kind of look at her too long and go, ooh, no, that's not someone, I don't need to look at that. And probably most importantly, it's just smiling ear to ear, not trying to play it cool anymore, is a child at play.
Darius, you have arrived at a place you know is the place. There's a little circle of stones. You know that this is where this old man needs to be, and you pick him up gently and carry him, and you lay him down. And as you do, he says, "So what happens now? Do I just wait here?"
I don't think that part's up to me. I think I can just get you here.
The pack is going to need someone to show them the way. They're a little wild and rambunctious without a strong, solid hand guiding them. Will you go back and show them the way?
You know what? Apparently, I'm very good at leading. I can try that on for a while. Besides, it's the last wish of a dying man. Wolf. Guy. What, am I an asshole?
On your way back to the boat, you see on the shore someone that you recognize, even if they don't look exactly the way they used to. What does Damien look like here on the outskirts of death?
There's a moment where at first glance, Damien looks like himself, though he's not as slouched as you've sometimes seen him. And as you start to study him, you see that his hair is darker. And most notably, his eyes are a glowing blue. But that is not the most significant difference. The most significant difference is the giant, monstrous shape of a wolf with the same colored fur as Damien's hair has now become and the same glowing eyes, almost reflected back behind him.
And what does Damien see as Darius comes walking towards him?
A little bit taller, even though he was already taller than everyone else. Nothing too crazy, not 7 feet. He's probably about 6'5" now. And his hair has also grown into very well maintained dreadlocks. Like you can see the individual locks, and in them you see gold rings, and they go down into they go from black to gray as they reach the bottom. And his eyes have also taken on a more grayish color to them. Before they were just like a mundane brown, but they're a bit of a striking gray, which from a black man is very noticeable, because basically he has kind of like wolf, like those intense wolf eyes. And he's gotten even more in shape somehow. A godly amount of in shape. And he just kind of stares at... He's completely ignoring the shadow beast behind Damien. And he just is looking directly at what is the normal little guy he's used to, even in our newer forms or older forms. All right. So did you die?
Yes.
Are you going back, or do you need me to guide you through?
And I would like to interject here for one moment as Damien thinks about his answer. Damien, you hear carried forth on the wind, coming up the river, the voice of someone who sounds a lot like a high school teacher. Sorry to put you on the spot, Jaqulin, but I know you're good for it. What would Kimberly's voice, carried by her power, say to Damien in this moment?
I think it's just so soft, almost a whisper. And I think she just says, grab the key. And I think Damien would know immediately what she's referring to.
And Darius sees Damien pause, tilting his head to the side in a rather canine-like manner as he hears this. And the look in his eyes shifts because you realize there was an element of hopelessness in them. You asked him if he was going to be returning, and he hadn't even thought that was a possibility. He died. He's here. What else is there? But Kimberly says that. And he presses a hand to his chest. Because he is thinking about how many dreams he never followed, how many paths he didn't even see because others had shown him where to go. And he is thinking about how that reflects what he has experienced many, many times before. And a small smile curves his lips as he looks at Darius and says, "Oh, I'm going back."
I can show you the way.
DeeDee, you are finally coming back to your senses. The amount of strands of things that are at your feet now. It's almost like a mound. Molly's sits down on a stump, looking a little exhausted, and goes, "You always make such a mess."
I admit I get a little carried away sometimes. It's just so fun.
Well, gives me something to do. Am I rehired? Because this whole spy thing that really like that was in my bag. Like they spotted me right away the first day, and then I was just downhill from there. So I've actually not been working for the past 3 weeks. I was just hiding in my apartment, ordering Uber Eats and just eating myself into some sort of food coma. But
Well, Pumpkin. Of course you're rehired. We'll figure it out. At the very least, we got to get some of this sorted, I suppose.
she looks around. You see Bill there, hands on his hips, looking around. The sun's coming up over on the horizon. Looks around. You see Darius and Damien coming back towards you. You see Kimberly there at the center of it all, looking very serene. Bill looks at all of you and goes, "It's good. It's good." What becomes of each of your characters in the next little while as you return? You awaken at the hotel. You, Damien. Hey, darling. Thank you so much. Appreciate you dropping by. You awaken in the room as you feel this hot breath just kind of wash over you, and you wake up in notice Grayson's head on the pillow next to you. Asleep.
Damien is not opposed to this, but Damien is very confused by this. And so he reaches out a hand to wake Grayson up, but then pauses and instead climbs out of bed and walks over to look at himself in the mirror.
That's when you realize that both of you are fully dressed. And as you stand in front of the mirror, what is it that you see?
I think overall Damien looks unchanged, but his eyes are paler than they were before. And he just stares deep into his eyes and just says, I'm done letting other people make decisions for me. If they want to make me the monster, I'll become what I choose to be.
And as you say that, this beautiful ray of sunlight comes in through the glass door windows, falls right on the bed. Grayson clings his eyes, kind of gets up, sits up, sees you, and goes, I don't know what we ate, but I had the weirdest fucking dream.
What happened in yours?
Darius, there's a knock at your door.
I remove DeeDee's arm from over my chest and go check the through the peephole.
You see a man dressed very nice but sober, dark suit, no tie, looking very fit, very professional, nice, tight haircut. You know him.
It's just one of my business partners.
Well, when you open the door, you see there's about 20 of them in the hallway now.
Okay.
Hey, boss.
Yep, the wolves are people.
Hey, boss.
Morning.
There's a couple of strange ladies that wanted to talk to you. Want me to turn them away, or do you want to see them?
Tell them to make an appointment.
You got it, boss. DeeDee, you are awoken rudely as your arm is flung. You hear talking at the door. You're not in your room.
Gotta wake up a bit blurry, wipe sleep from eyes. And I'm nosy, so I'm gonna peek around the corner as much as I can from the bed and look to see what's happening at the door.
You see Darius there talking to some guy you don't know, but it seems very efficient.
Boring. I'm going to instead start to gather my things, find shoes.
Your phone dings.
To lift a few things to find it.
It's a text message from Molly. Some French guy said that you're supposed to meet with him. Should I book breakfast, or what's the deal with that?
I'm gonna leave it on red for a second.
And then you see, are you leaving me on red?
eyes emoji as I continue to get ready. I can come back to it. Still just trying to decide what I want to do with this. I'm gonna send her back a message of tell him need to postpone. I need to make a meeting with Nadja, as if she already knows who that might be.
You hit send. It goes. She writes back. Got it. On it. And you go to put down the phone, but then it looks like another message has come in. And it's from an unknown number. And it says, numbers don't lie.
Who emoji? Bluck.
Kimberly, you walk down into the main area. You see that people are about. There are no more influencers. They're all gone. People are just enjoying their breakfasts, getting ready for the day, going out to the pool, what have you. Bill's there behind the counter. He's like, Miss Gordon.
Bill.
I want to know, same time next year, we're booking again for next year? Might as well reserve ahead of time. 10% discount if you reserve now.
Yes. And I'd like to change the group name if that's possible.
Yeah, I maybe have been working a little bit on new sign for you. And he goes down and he pulls like a new thing that he's drawn with a marker by hand on this big piece of white cardboard. And there's like a big open space there, and it just says, with Dr. Kimberly Gordon at the bottom. Like, you put whatever you want. I just got ahead a little bit, you think ahead, you do the prep work, and then things is good, What would you like to see there?
I think we're gonna do cooking classes.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take a long vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Eat all the food I possibly can. And next year, we're turning this around.
I like
cooking classes. No more wolves.
He takes the pen. No wolves.
No wolves.
No wolves allowed.
No.
Your friend might take offense, but
Well, he did his thing already, so.
Maybe select wolves allowed. There.
Well, yeah.
I do this up for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's someone who wants to talk to you. Just over there. I had him wait at the bar.
Oh, thank you. And she'll head towards the bar, towards the person that Bill pointed towards.
As you approach the bar, this older man is there, wearing a long trench coat. He's got dark curly hair. Looks like he's enjoying his meal. He's taken just his time cutting pieces of the food and just enjoying them, licking his fingers. So good. So good. And as you come up, he says, I applaud your idea of the cooking. Food truly is the best way to reach deep inside someone. I fully appreciate.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was thinking.
I have an offer for you. And as he turns to look at you, you notice that one of his eyes is a different color than the other one. Maybe we can work together.
I think I would like that.
Have a seat.
And she'll pop in next.
And that, my friends, is where our little adventure through the Arizona desert and the awakening of gods will end for now. But as we all know, it's hard to keep a good god down. And who knows? Who knows what might pop up next time. And what we might get up to in the future. Thank you so much. You're all absolutely so wonderful. Would you like to tell us who your god were, or do you want to keep that a little mystery?
I'm all right with sharing.
I'll fully say.
Tell us.
All right. So, as we go around and you introduce yourselves and tell people where they can find you, tell us a little bit who your god was and why you chose them. And since you offered so generously, Kimberly, Jaqulin, we'll start with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Jaqulin. I use she, her pronouns. And tonight I played Kimberly Gordon, who also used she, her pronouns, who transformed into Minerva, who, not the Roman version, but a more earlier version. And less known, has some very interesting mythology around controlling the weather. And so the idea was she can control people's thoughts, process, and their flows the same way you can kind of control a storm.
The vibes, if you will.
The vibes. Control the vibes.
The vibe god.
Yeah, the vibe god. And she will be holding a cooking contest.
Next up, let us go with JD, one of our two wolves.
Yes, hi, I am JD. In this game, I played Damien Doyle, who is actually Fenrir, son of Loki and Angrboda, destined to kill Odin at Ragnarok, which I'm sure is totally fine and not something to be concerned about.
Especially considering that Odin just showed up.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's in the breakfast hall. He's he's eating a plate of grits right now. You're just like, something feels right.
I'm
Whose
just like,
spiritual pressure is this?
time to eat. That's going to be my breakfast.
Mr. Darryl Dorsey, tell us about your wolf.
Hi, I'm Darryl, and I was playing Darius, who awakened into his true self as Wepwawet, the Egyptian god, who is not so much unknown as he was just kind of replaced. He is a god that covers both funerary rites, so death, war, as well as royalty, in that he is but in all incarnations, he is the one that finds the way, either taking souls safely through the Duat, leading soldiers to victory, or leading pharaohs to greatness. And he kind of gets confused a lot with Anubis. So, Mr. Ebis, we got words to have. You stole my whole lines, flow for flow, bar for bar. I'm Soldier Boy screaming Drake at the top of his lungs. That's who Wepawet is.
Finally, the woman who tears everything apart and gives her assistant conniptions. Alex.
I was gonna say, and also my character, DeeDee.
Yes, obviously.
I play DeeDee Clareville, who is now an awakened Eris, goddess of discord and strife. There's two fun sides to her. The discord is probably the most well-known. The story about the golden apple saying, hey, give this to whoever you think is the prettiest, and causing the Trojan War. Classic. Most classic act possible. But it's also neat with, just besides general chaotic things that you can just blame her having a problem with your marriage, Eris. Tripped over a rock, Eris. If there's something chaotic happening, it's her fault. But the kinder side of Eris is that she inspires competitive or healthy competition, or people who might be a little bit lazy, but she can come around and say, "Oh, hey, farmer, how about you actually farm?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm inspired to actually act on things." So there's these two sides to it that I thought were really fascinating, besides the iconic golden apple.
Bill is Beelzebub. So if you watched the TV show or read the American Gods book, there's a character called Chernobog. In Slavic mythology, Chernobog and Beelzebub are two sides of the same coin, with Chernobog being the evil one, the god of death and all that. At night and during the day, he became Beelzebub, who was the god of good. He's closely tied to Balder in Norse mythology. And he's referenced in the book where Chernobog says he's got a brother, but he hasn't seen him in a while. And so he hasn't seen him in a while because Beelzebub's out here manning the counter at, the Night Queen Lodge in Arizona because, even a god's got to get a job,
It's good.
In this economy, even God's got to get jobs.
And he has the destroyer of worlds on his shoulder.
Yeah, Samargal is like this ancient creature of fire from Slavic mythology, who is now an iguana because, the desert.
No. Right now. Gosh, thank you.
The text between Alex and myself. Whose room is it gonna be? We'll see who he talks to first. Oh, it's Darryl. Oh, it's me. Okay.
Sucker.
I gently remove DeeDee's arm from me.
Gently.
Gently in a time like this.